Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? This is your boy Isaac,
And this is your boy Bryce.
and we are brothers on tennis. And folks, we've got another great week of tennis for you. Talk about what's currently going on. WTA had a fantastic tournament last week, and now the fellas are trying to get their swing on the red clay. Bryce, are you excited about what's going on the red clay?
I guess. The clay season isn't my favorite part of the tennis year.
Mhm.
So I'm excited just because we just came through a pandemic and there was no tennis, not on gravel or grass or glass or anything. But just the fact that we have tennis, I'm excited about. But yeah, the clay season's always a little blah for me, you know. Um, but that's okay. Like you said, we've got tennis to watch and that's a good thing.
And I think that's the difference maker for me is I'm typically, if you look at all the surfaces for me, I am typically most excited about grass and then hard court and then clay. But the fact that we've been in this whole pandemic, it's just like, I just want to see tennis. So it's like, for me, it's like, I haven't kind of gotten to that point yet where I'm exhausted of tennis
Right.
to that point where you're kind of looking at it from a surface standpoint. I just want to see tennis. I'm just ready to, just continue to be immersed in the game, which, yeah. So the Monte Carlo, it was Monte Carlo, right? It started this past Sunday.
Sunday, yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
This past
yeah.
Sunday.
So got that kicked off, and like I said, the ladies wrapped up their tournament, the Volvo in Charleston. So did you get a chance to check any of that out, Bryce?
I did. So I think we had actually four tournaments last week. We had two Buster tournaments on the men's side,
Yes,
in Sardinia, and the other one was in Marbella, Spain.
that's right.
And we'll just like real quickly acknowledge that they existed. They were both 250 level tournaments. And for the first one that was in Marbella, Spain, your boy PCB, Pablo Carreno Busta.
Yep.
I'll actually say his name correct this time. He came through. He was the top seed. It wasn't anybody in the draw that scurried him. I mean,
No.
he was like, "This is what I do." When Rafa ain't here, and
Exactly.
when RBA ain't here,
And here.
and we on clay in Spain. This is what I do. So props to him for picking up a 250, I guess. I don't know if there was anything else to really say about that tournament.
Not at all.
Okay, so we'll keep it moving. And then we had is this pronounced the Sardinia Open? I didn't even watch enough of it to hear them say it. But
Yes.
it's in Cagliari, Italy. And now I will say this. This one has some better names in it. Some more people I was interested in. Daniel Evans,
Right.
Basil Lashvili was in it. Senego. I named Taylor Fritz, but not that because I was interested. And the thing that I'm going to say is more impressive to me than Senego winning a title in his home country was the fact that he won the singles and the doubles.
Right. Right.
And we just, that used to be a thing, right? We used to see that happen much more often. You rarely see that happen in today's tennis world, that someone wins the singles title and the doubles title as well.
Yeah.
But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen at a 250 tournament in Cagliari, Italy.
Yeah, especially on the men's side. Yeah, the ladies, you may see that happen a little bit more. I know our girl, oh God, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Sabalenka has done it. Of course, Barty has done it. But yeah, it's like on the men's side, it's rare that you'll see a singles winner also getting a doubles crown on the men's side. So yeah, that is extremely impressive on his part. And to do it in your home country, not bad. Not bad.
And the other thing that made this tournament just a little more interesting is, and I don't know why I'm like stretching my neck to talk in this mic that's not connected now, instead of the one that's hanging down from my throat. But is that we had some upsets actually in this tournament. I mean, Daniel
Hmm.
Evans was the top seed, and Musetti showed him what time it was.
Right.
We had your guy or our guy Basilashvili.
Hmm.
I was surprised that he lost to Dejeri.
Yeah, and took a whole biscuit and a bagel and was like, "Bye,
Yeah, I think he was ready to go home.
something."
Yeah, he wanted to get on his fighting console and play some Punch Out. So anyway, you know, Taylor Fritz lost to Sonego, and
Hmm.
Tommy Paul lost to Hoffman, which I
Yeah,
was a little surprised with that. So there were some interesting matchups there, but once again, 250 in Italy and Sonego. Congratulations on the singles and the doubles win.
absolutely. I will give a nice shout out though to Fritz and Tommy Paul for again at least making an effort. At least we're trying to get out there on clay. They may not be getting the results, but at least they are trying to get out on some red clay and not just stay here in the States until Wimbledon rolls around, like
I
most of them fools do.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And Tommy Paul, we know he's got some chops on clay.
Hmm.
And I think he's a previous French Open junior
That's
title
right. That's
winner.
right.
And we know Taylor Fritz just trying to make that coin, so he gonna go wherever they paying. But that was good to see them over there. I do agree. So that was on the men's side.
Yep.
And then on the women's side, we actually had two tournaments. I don't know if the Tennis Channel knew we had two tournaments, but we actually had two tournaments on the women's side. And we're going to start with that 250 that was in Bogota, Colombia.
Hmm.
And somebody named Osorio Serrano. I'll go ahead and admit, shame on me for being a tennis fan, reporter, whatever you want to call me, and having not even heard of her
Right.
before. But there were some decent names in here. I mean, you had Zhang Sai Sai. I mean, in there, and
Right.
you had our Cerebus Tormo, who had
Hmm.
been playing, pretty well. Um, but yeah, so that kind of happened.
Exactly. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, a lot of the names that her name in particular, I wasn't familiar with. Zidane Czech, I've definitely heard of her before and seen her game. So she's actually got a little bit of game. But in truth, Bryce, we don't typically cover the 250s at all. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
So once again, like you said, just acknowledgement.
exactly.
And the real tournament we had, like you started off with, was the Volvo Car Open that was in Charleston last week. And by looking at the finals, you would have thought nobody went to that tournament. But
At
we
least at the
actually,
semifinals, exactly.
exactly, we actually had names in there. But Isaac, I mean, what happened? I mean, when you look at a tournament and in the draw, you have Barty, Kennan, Kvitova, Burtons, Bencic, Muguruza, Mertens.
Hmm.
Well, Madison Keys is technically the eighth seed, but I mean, you know, and then in the finals you have Kudermetova, and
Kovanic.
I mean, what happened?
Yeah, bruh. So okay. I mean, and this kind of speaks to a lot of what's going on. The fact that it's green clay, the fact that they are going, coming off of hard courts onto, a different surface, I think played a big part in all of it. I think, unfortunately, Muguruza had to retire against Putin Seva, so that was a little bit of a. She was the only one where I was like, hmm. I mean, well, I shouldn't say she's the only one. She wasn't the only one. Barty losing to Badosa, that one was curious to me because I actually thought that Barty was playing some really good tennis. I actually feel like Shelby Rogers may have taken a little bit out of Barty in that three setter, and Barty just couldn't get herself reset in order to take out Badosa. So that was a pretty interesting loss there. And, I mean, Sloane had a great tournament, I feel. I mean, honestly, the fact that she made it to the quarters, I would have hoped that she could have gotten by Kudermetova, but at the same time, hey, she lost to the eventual winner. So hopefully she can take some positives out of that. I did see actually an interview with her on the desk with Steve Weissman, and it gave me some better perspective. I mean, I think she's still just trying to find her game and find kind of
Mm-hmm.
herself, which helped me as a Sloane Stephens fan because I was just sort of, because we always be talking like, where you at? Where is that game that we saw in 2017 USTA that that took you to the U.S. Open Championship? I mean, that's the Sloane we want to see. And I feel like she spoke a little bit about it, spoke about how she's just trying to feel better, feel happier on the court. And I just feel like some of the things that have been going on in her life on the personal side have been an impact. And the fact that she's got a little bit different coaching situation, and I feel like she's at least trying to get herself back on track. So for me, Bryce, I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like this was actually a very good result, even though, again, she couldn't get past Kudermetova. What were your thoughts on her?
Yeah, it's funny how our expectations have lowered for her because,
Right.
I agree with you. Like 2021 Sloan, this was a good result. Um, and, I knew she was going to beat Keys just off of muscle memory.
Right.
And then, well, yeah, I mean, come
Yeah.
on. And then I didn't know that I think she was undefeated against Tomljanovic. So once again, that was kind of like muscle memory too.
Mm-hmm.
But Kudermetova, remember, we were the ones last week who predicted that she was going to at least make it to the quarters.
Right.
And she was like, no, and that ain't where I'm stopping. And, Sloan, I didn't heard about you, and this is the time to play you. So,
Exactly.
so she had a nice straight set win there. I like you were surprised that I was surprised that Barty lost to Badosa.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, um, she had just come off of winning off of hard, and the transition to clay and all of that. Um, Definitely one thing that I think impacted this tournament was Muguruza getting hurt because
Absolutely.
Muguruza was actually playing very well. Matter of fact, she had bageled
Yep.
and was looking at a whole biscuit on Putin Sava
Exactly.
when she kind of hurt herself. So, I mean, I think Kudermetova really benefited from Muguruza because when you look at the rest of the results, I think Muguruza was primed to come through
I completely agree
and
with that.
and to take that. I will say something about Coco Golf, though. I mean, to
Mm-hmm.
me, Coco is starting to look a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a little surprised though that she didn't beat Jabeur based upon her previous success
Right.
with her. But Jabeur is tricky, and look, Coco Golf. Now you talk about a good result. Her making it to the quarterfinals of a 500 level tournament,
Mm-hmm.
still in her early career, these were still very strong uh, results for her. So
Right. I agree with you completely. And I think that, yeah, for her to be able to, again, take out Lauren Davis and then to, and she had a good record against Jabeur. But again, Jabeur is a very crafty player. She adapts. And I think that's what she did in that particular match. And she ended up getting that victory on her. So, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and
yeah.
I was surprised that Jabeur got stolen by Kovanic like she did.
I think that was a lot of nerves, if I'm being very honest with you.
Really,
I
too much
really
pressure
do.
at that
Too
point. She
much
was
pressure.
expected to win.
Because all four of them in the semis were going for their first title. So to
Yeah,
me, at that point, it became completely mental. I was like, whoever got their mental right is going to win this championship. And Kudermetova, just by looking at her throughout her season, she has had a very, very good season. So for me, the minute I saw those semis, I was like, Kudermetova going to take this tournament. Yeah,
right,
she's going to take this
right.
tournament, and that's
I,
what she did.
Well, let's talk about some other good news that happened at the tournament. So, on the
Yes.
we continue our Olympics watch, and on the double side of the house, Melikar
Mm-hmm.
ensures the number one seed. They took the doubles title, and in taking the doubles title,
Yes.
um, and wait a minute, let me back that up for a second. In the
Yeah.
semifinals, Melikar Insurers beat Dabrowski and Muhammad. And if you remember, Dabrowski was the one who was in the 10th position for rankings
Correct.
where Melikar was trying to get. So they stumped up on them in the semifinals. And then they took the title. And so when the rankings came out this morning, Melikar is now the number 10 ranked doubles player in the world, which means as of now, as long as she doesn't drop out of the top 10, and I do believe she's going to continue to go up, she is a lock on the Olympic squad.
Yes, yes.
Which basically, and I meant to look at the rankings this morning to look at the singles rankings again, which basically means the team is getting kind of set now because I think we know, once again, singles, we got Serena, we got Kenin, we got Brady, and then that fourth spot.
That's that fourth spot that's open, though.
Yeah, we'll have to see who that is. It was Madison Keys, but, she looking like she don't want it. So, we'll see who gets that. But we know Captain Kathy is going to pick Venus to play doubles with Serena. Now you got Melikar, who's locked in for a double spot. So, I'm assuming she's probably going to play doubles with Kenin, considering that Kenin is the 5th ranked American in doubles.
Yeah, but I wouldn't rule out Jim Brady, though. I don't know.
Well, that would be interesting because if I was Kenin, I would be like, I'm the 5th ranked doubles player for the country. So I
should, right.
Yes, right. So the only people ahead of me are Melikar, Bethany Maddox-Sands, that one girl whose name make you think she ain't from the U.S., and maybe Haley. I think Haley Carter.
Okay.
So yeah, you'd have to do some explaining as to why you would pick, somebody other than her.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that came to my mind is just you have to think about the just kind of how their games mesh and the gel. And it's kind of like even though she has the ranking, it doesn't mean that they would be a good pairing. And I think that that's something that what's our Olympic coach's name again?
Kathy Rinaldi.
That's what Coach Rinaldi will have to kind of analyze and review is who has the best kind of synergy, collaboration, whatever term you want to use. And to me, that's the double team that you have to go with, or that whoever Melikar is the most comfortable with. Because
But see, here's the thing: how are you going to see that before you have to name a team?
That's a good point. Because because they're naming it right after the French, right? Because once the French rankings are locked, they have to then name.
Yeah, they have to start right. So it's like, and because they don't play with each other. Melikar is not going to stop playing with Schurz.
Right.
And how much have we even seen Jen Brady play doubles anyway?
That's a good point. Not much at all. Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, it'll. I just feel bad for Bethany.
I do too. But
I feel bad for Bethany.
But Bethany, reach inside and understand that there's power in commentating. You can dictate a story like nobody else can. You can create a narrative unlike any player can do with a forehand or a backhand. Embrace it, my child. Embrace it.
You are funny.
Because what you won't have is a spot on the Olympic squad. So we need to just go ahead and put that out.
Put it out there, which is so rough because she's defending mixed doubles champion.
Right. And all I'm going to say is, Melikar, put your knee braces in. Don't let Maddox-Sands get all Tanya Harding on you, catch you coming around the corner. Don't get caught.
Don't get caught. That's right, sister. Don't get caught.
Enough time has passed. You may think this stuff can go over again. Anyway, so last week could have been considered maybe a little bit of a slow week, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, let's keep that slow trend going this week because still in Charleston, we have another women's tournament for those people who couldn't afford bus fare to get out of Charleston. We're gonna let them sit here and play one more week again.
One more week.
And Ons Jabeur is the top seed this time, so that's interesting. If she couldn't handle the pressure in the semifinals, being the top remaining seed at that point, she may get crumpled up in here. But Yeah, this is another one of these participation tournaments. It's a 250. You've got Jabeur and Lynette and Shelby. See, Shelby Rogers may
Shelby,
take. She may take this
listen,
title. She
that's
may
who
take
I'm
this
calling.
title.
That's who I'm calling, bro. That's who I'm calling.
And because I'm telling you, I don't know if you saw the match today she had against Katie McNally, but it was one of those kind of like you may want to think about going to college route.
I did
I mean,
not,
I'm just
but
serious. I
there you
mean,
go.
because we serious out here. You know, you still looking like you just came off of somebody's varsity squad. No, we
Yeah.
serious out here. So she gave her a bagel in the first set, and I lost interest to see what the second set score was.
Ooh, that is mean. Oh man.
I was too excited to watch Lauren Davis put them things on Coco Vandeweghe. Have
You
her
know,
have her go find her bus ticket home. See, you got me talking about people tonight. I ain't trying to be out here like this.
it is all good, brother, because you know I am feeling it as well. Yes, sir.
But
I was not yeah, I was impressed with the fact that Lauren Davis got up on yes. The other Coco.
right, yeah.
Put it that
Remember,
way.
she's number 4th on our Cocos.
Woo.
Uh, thank you, Miles. It was 6-love, 6-1. That's
Ooh. Bagel
yeah,
bread. Bagel
yeah.
bread. Mm.
That'll make you sit down and think about some things.
It should.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah, but see, Shelby got some fire in her anyway, because you saw that matchup she had with Anna Samova. She
right.
was there was a little bit of feistiness going on out there on both sides.
And
It
let
was
me
like,
just tell
everybody's
you.
scared of you.
And let me just reiterate my position on Anna Samova, just in case anybody forgot or if anybody cares. Um, Anna Samova to me is like one of those people. I don't know if y'all grew up going to like camps and that kind of thing, and they got the really nice looking strokes,
Mm-hmm.
and they look real good in drills, and they hit the hell out of a cone, in one of them drills. But you get them in a match, and I just don't see champion. I just don't see fight in her. I just don't see, you know, I just don't see it in her.
Mm.
And like I said, I acknowledge that she's got some nice looking strokes and all that, but yeah, she does not encourage me to turn on. She does not encourage me to go from my regular tennis channel to TC Plus.
Oh wow.
I'm just saying.
Just saying, this one will be the one where we'll have to politely disagree. I like Anna Samova. I have to say, I like her. I think she did well in the juniors. Her and Coco were always out there battling, trying to get it done. I think that unfortunately, because of the fact again, and we talk about all these personal stories. I think what happened to her off the court, the fact that she lost her father, really impacted her. And I do feel like she's going to get back, and I feel like she's going to make her mark. But yeah, so I hear what you're saying. I'm kind of in that different camp. I think she's got a very bright future.
I don't dislike her. I wish her well. Just my expectations are low.
I love how you put that.
No. And as I'm looking at other people who are in this draw, I mean, Tomljanovic, this could be a good opportunity for her to get to a final.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's got Madison Bringle, with the frying pan serve. I
Yes.
mean, she's on her side. You got Sarah Ronnie and Christina McHale. Hey, Miles, McHale, I got a soft spot for those McHales. But they not really anything to be afraid of. That
No.
Lynette, I mean, she alright, but
Who you think will make it from that bottom half?
Tomljanovic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what? I kind of agree. Yeah, because ain't nobody else. Yeah.
I could see a Tomljanovic Rogers final, and Rogers isn't she from Charleston too?
She's from somewhere around there.
Yeah, so yeah, she's trying to represent for the home front. So
Right.
she
Right.
probably actually had bus fare to get out of Charleston, but decided to stay because she
Because she
wanted
knew
to get the
she could
home
get her
tournament.
exactly. She knew she can get her a tournament, get her some coins.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So anyway, we spent way too much time on a 250.
especially
Let's
if we got this 1,000, this Master Series on the
yes,
fella side. So let's go and get to jumping.
yes. So we have our Masters tournament in Monte Carlo. Um, And, we've got a lot of the big boys in there. You got Djokovic and Medvedev and Nadal and Tsitsipas and Zverev and Rublev and Schwartzman and Berrettini. And do not miss out on Karatsev.
Don't do it.
He's in there. And look, he showed Mercedes what time it was this morning. He was like, you know what? I'm not even playing real well, but I just, this
I'm
is just
playing well enough to get you.
just to beat you. People talking about your backhand, but it looks flimsy to me. And I'm, I'm going to show you angles and I'm going to show you heat. And I'm going to still toss in about 6 or 7 double faults, but that's okay because I really don't need those points.
Exactly.
So,
I'm good.
yeah. So we've got some really good matchups. And the reason why I started with Karatsev, Isaac, and I'm going to turn it over to you here in a minute, is not only because, yes, Karatsev is our guy. We're going to get that Brothers on Tennis patch on his back at some point. But there's already talk now about his round 2 matchup with Tsitsipas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very, very interested to hear what are your thoughts about that second round matchup in the Masters tournament.
Oh, it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. I mean, I think it's very advantageous that Karatsev got that match under his belt. And I think it will really, it's going to help him a lot. That's going to be a tough match because again, Tsitsipas is extremely, he's rough on clay. He does play well on the clay. The question for me will be, is he going to have enough time, especially on the backhand side, with all that power that's going to be coming at him from Karatsev, because he just showed you today with Musetti. He was just like, listen, I got power for days.
And angles.
And angles. That backhand is so sharp.
Right.
And he's going to pin him in that corner. And I just don't know if Tsitsipas is going to be able to handle that, bruh. I might have to just pick this upset. I'm going to be honest with you. I might have to do it.
And Brandon in the chat is agreeing with you. And I had the same conversation with somebody else today. When I just look at it like player versus player, I want to give the edge to Tsitsipas in terms of overall game. Right. But then when I really start looking at the strategery of things, right?
I love that strategery.
Right. If I start looking at, really the X's and the O's, if Karasev's coach is telling him, or even if Karatsev ain't listening to his coach and just knows that I'm going to make this a backhand battle.
Right.
I got to give the edge to Karatsev.
Yeah. You'd have to because his backhand is laser, dude. Whew, that thing is money all day. And like I said, he has limitless power. It's just his power game is ridiculous. Oh, man.
Right. But let me tell you what. This is the cool thing about these Master Series tournaments, right? They're not as large of a as a major or a Grand Slam draw, but this is like starting the tournament off later than a major, right? And so you have these really good matchups from the very first round, and there are just so many great matchups in here that, were there any that, before we kind of talk about the end of the tournament, were there any that you were particularly interested in? Because FYI, for those listening to the podcast, we're recording this on Monday. Most of the matches got rained out today, so we don't really have a lot of results to talk about. So we're just going to sit here and talk about what we think should happen.
What we think should happen. There you go. I mean, honestly, that first round, it's funny that I think Miles just mentioned that in the chat as well. I'm very interested to see how Sinner does. He's facing a pretty hefty clay court player in Ramos Vignoles. So it'll be interesting to see that match. Again, Albert Ramos Vignoles is a lefty, so I'm wondering if that will present any type of a hindrance to Sinner. I do still predict Sinner getting out of that match, and it will be very interesting to see a Sinner Djokovic for second round match. Whew. That right there.
Yes.
Looking forward to that, bruh. Come on,
Sinner. Come on, Italy.
Bring what you got, right? And I mean, yeah, go ahead, bruh. What about you in that little section there?
Well, I'm always interested in my boy that's trying to hold on to his varsity spot. Boy, he lose a finger grip on that each week.
I tell you.
Lajovic against Daniel Evans. And I know they started the match today, and I think Evans may have gotten the first set before they were suspended because of rain. But I'm very
Mm-hmm.
interested in that. And then I just want to go down just a little bit
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you have still it's in that same quarter, but you have Sonego in the first round against Fucsovics.
Yep, yep, yep.
And
That
and then whoever wins that plays Zverev.
which is a great opportunity to get an upset.
Exactly.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So I mean, Djokovic, obviously you'd have to say, you see Djokovic coming through there, but center
Right,
could
right.
pose a problem.
Hmm.
Um, Goffin actually looked pretty good given Chilich that bagel in the third set.
I know. It's like Chilich ran out of gas or something. I was like, bruh, what happened?
Right. And then the whole Sonego, Fucsovics, Zverev, I mean, that's a tight group right there.
And that's just the first section. I mean,
That's the first quarter.
that's the
Yeah.
first quarter. I mean, all these quarters got some really interesting stuff. And the second one is just as good because we already talked about Tsitsipas and Karatsev. How
Mm-hmm.
about Millman getting on Ugo Humbert? That one surprised me because typically Millman is not a clay court player. So I'm like, how you just beat him 3-3?
Apparently, Humbert ain't either. So,
He like, I'm French, but I don't like clay or something.
no,
I was like,
no.
dang. And then of course, you got Felix out there, and he and Garin are going to be. They started their match, and of course, like you
Mm,
said, got rained out. So that one, I don't know. It's kind of a toss up, but I fully expect Felix to get through there,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
really need him to get to that. I personally need to see Felix against Karatsev again. I need to see that matchup because I need to see. Okay, y'all was at the Australian. He was up on you 2 sets, and then Karatsev came back and won them last three. What's it going to look like now that y'all are on clay? I need to see
Right,
that matchup. So that's the
right.
one I'm hoping for in that little section there. What about you, bro?
Yeah, no, that looks good. I'm just, I just want to see Karatsev come up through there. I just want to come through there. And then staying in that same quarter, I don't know why this was an interesting first round for me, but Popperin and Andujar.
Oh yes, absolutely. Because Poprin's, young Australian. He's got his little fire going right now, and he's one of the more disciplined Australians. And and then you've got
Right.
Pablo Andujar, who's old school, and he's a clay court master. So that one could be tricky. I don't know who will come out of that. I'm giving the edge to Poprin though.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. And then right below that, I really like Pella. I don't know because he's just kind of like very
Yeah.
workmanlike to
Yep.
me, right?
Yep.
But he is playing
Yep.
Puig, who is
Hmm.
on my JV squad because he's been injured, and
Right.
I want to see how he's coming through. And then below that, you have another one of my JV squad people, Davidovich Fokina. He
Hmm.
took out the demon today. He got
Right.
that done before it started raining. And now, like Miles was talking about in the chat, he plays Berrettini in the
Right.
second round, and that's going to be a match.
That's gonna be a good match. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Berrettini because it feels like I haven't seen him in a while. So I'm looking forward to
Right,
seeing
he
him
got
play.
hurt.
Yeah.
So before we go to the bottom half, who are you think? So name it. Who are the two semifinalists
On
uh,
on
on the top
on
half?
on the top half. Oh, okay. I'm definitely gonna call Djokovic just because he's
Okay.
Djokovic. He'll get there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Okay, you're gonna laugh, but I'm gonna call Felix.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
call Felix. As much as I want to call Karatsev, I'm gonna call Felix
All right.
just to switch it up. How about you?
No. Yeah. How can you not pick Djokovic to make it to the semis? Even though I hope Center put some things on him. Um. I agree, Djokovic, but I'm going Karatsev, man. I'm riding the hot train,
I
man.
got you. I
I'm riding the
got
hot
you.
train.
I was gonna
Uh,
say it, but I figured you were, so that's why I figured I'll switch it up. Just because of that whole Tony Nadal thing, I'm gonna see if Felix can get inspired in this tournament to do
and we're going
something.
to talk about that a little bit later.
Yes,
So that makes our matchup potentially of FAA and Karatsev a very interesting one for us to watch.
yes, yes.
So let's take it to the bottom half,
Hmm.
right? And so in that third section or that third quarter, we have Rublev You got Tommy Paul, but a very interesting first round matchup
Hmm.
of Taylor Fritz and RBA.
Yeah, yeah, that one will be interesting only because again, RBA is not your typical Spaniard. I don't
Right.
believe clay is actually his best surface, whereas I
No.
think Taylor can actually play on clay. So I'm gonna tell you what, bro. I'm gonna give the edge to Taylor Fritz.
Oh wow, really?
I am. I'm gonna step out there. I'm crazy. I know y'all. I know.
I'm going with RBA because Taylor's an American. So next, if you go down
You
to the next
stupid.
section in the first round, you have Dimitrov and Struff.
Yes.
That's an amazing first round
It,
match.
it is incredible. Yeah, yeah, it really is good. Struth, I tell you what, man, he's got a big game as well. I actually think he likes Clay, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of giving him a little bit of the edge because I don't think that Grigor is just in the right mental space right now. I don't know what's going on with him, so
No.
I'm giving Struth a little bit of that love, and that next one, hey,
Yes.
Shardy's been hot. Bublik, you never know what to expect from him. So who knows who gonna get through that one? Who you pick on that one?
It don't matter because that's Nadal's quarter.
It is true.
We can talk about it if you really want to, but I
He said
mean,
it don't matter.
you
And you're
know,
right, it don't. None of this really matters, to be very honest with you.
right? I mean, he in the dog's quarter, so it can be Struve, Dimitrov, RBA.
It don't even matter.
It don't even matter.
No, yeah.
So, in the bottom section, now to me, if there was a Buster section
Right.
of the draw,
Right.
and I hate saying that because my dude is in there, Medvedev.
Hmm.
But we're realistic about how Medvedev is on clay.
Correct.
Uh, uh, Basilashvili is acting like he's tired. So he may not even get past Krajinovic, because Krajinovic got game, let's not forget.
Yeah, but I don't know about his game on clay though.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a
He's
good
good on
point.
hard court, but I don't know. I've never really seen him play on clay, so that'll be interesting for me to see how he does. But I agree with you though. It seems like Basilashvili is a little bit like out of sorts, so
Right.
Krajinovic may end up getting that victory.
His,
But I still
his,
pick Medvedev though against either one of them.
do you?
I do actually. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
I do.
right. Okay. I
I
gotta
think
see
Med.
it first. I gotta
I
see
think
it first.
yeah. I think in truth, Bryce, I think it's one of these deals where Medvedev may not be the greatest on clay, but he ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
be letting too many busters slide up on him. So if he
Okay.
gonna lose, I feel like he'll lose to someone that's a little bit better on clay, and I don't know that I see either of those two being of that caliber to be able to, get him on clay. Personal,
Mm-hmm.
personal opinion.
Gotcha. Because in their little section, you do have Fonini,
Right.
who, let's not forget, Fonini put it on Rafa.
Yes, yes, but that
Uh,
was a few years
yeah.
ago and a surgery ago as well. So
Right, but he's in the right section for that.
correct.
He's in the Buster section, so I expect for him to get past Kecmanovic.
Right.
Ain't nobody scared of Jordan Thompson on clay.
No, no, I'm shocked
Uh,
that Jordan Thomas made out that first round. But then again,
right,
he was playing
playing
Benoit
Pair,
Paire. So
yeah,
there you go.
ain't spend no time talking about him. And
Exactly.
so I do feel like we're gonna see Fonini and Medvedev play, and I want Medvedev to win, but I think Fonini does have the chops on clay to
Yeah.
beat Medvedev. Um, and then you got, also in our section, really the favorite is probably Schwartzman, right?
That's who I'm calling coming out that section. To be honest with you, bro, I think it's going to be another Nadal Schwartzman battle in the
I
semis.
I can see that. I can
Hmm.
see that. But Nadal wants it to be Nadal Fonini.
I think he would always relish that matchup, especially on red clay. Yes, sir. He'd be like, "Come
so
here."
so are we picking anybody else to win this tournament other than Nadal?
No.
Okay, I
You can
mean,
be silly and do that if you want to, but I done already learned my lesson. I am not until Nadal starts losing, like really losing on clay. No, I will pick him for every tournament that's on red clay. He is going to be my pick.
Right. Now, we may have to look a little differently if it's green clay or blue clay,
Oh
but on
yeah,
the
yeah.
but on the red clay,
No, you might as well just write his name on the check.
just give it up. Just
Just
give
give
it
it
up.
up. Just give it up, bro.
So I have a couple of hot topics that I want to bring up for you and for a couple of our guests to join us if they'd
Yeah.
like to in the conversation. So
Hmm.
let's do this. Let's go ahead real quick and just wrap up the podcast side of the episode. Listeners, thank you for listening. Once again, we record on the Locker Room Network. And if you do not have Locker Room, please go out to the Apple App Store, download Locker Room so that you can participate in like this hot topics conversation we're getting ready to have.
That's right.
So check us out on that. Isaac, any final words from you for this week?
Nothing from me, bro. Just keep on enjoying the tennis. We appreciate you. Appreciate all the support out there. And yeah, we just look to keep this thing moving.
All right. So, to our listeners, thank you for listening as always. On behalf of the podcast, this has been your boy Bryce,
And this is your boy Isaac.
and we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone, take care. Okay, so who wants to come up for these two hot topics? I'm not even telling you what the hot topics are. You just got to decide to come on up and want to talk about it.
Choose if you want to talk, huh?
Right.
Come on up.
Okay, there
Who
we go.
wants to
There's
come?
Miles. All right. Miles is up. Hey, Miles, how you doing?
Hello, Miles.
Hey, brothers, what's up? Let's make
What's
sure I
going
pay my
on?
Wi-Fi bill before your second round.
Right? Put them coins in the right place, Miles. Come on now.
I love it.
They should be
So,
good. They should be
anybody,
good.
All
any other
right.
takers before we get going? All right. So
All
the hot
right.
topic that I have two. And the first one that I want to throw out to you guys to hear your thoughts. Obviously, this week we heard the news and look, once again, if y'all don't start listening to Brothers on Tennis, we be trying to tell y'all this stuff. And then y'all be trying to come back and be like, I don't think it really means that. Okay. Anyway, back when we first saw FAA at Nadal's Academy with Uncle Tony in the back with his arms folded and his legal pad in his arm, we
Mm,
told you this was coming.
mm,
So the official announcement came this week that Uncle Tony Nadal, I guess we should start calling him Tony Nadal,
right.
um, that he has become the head coach for FAA. Fellas,
Yes.
what do you think about this? What does this mean?
Miles, I'll let you talk first.
Somebody's trying to get him a title. I don't know where it's going to be at, but it seems to me like Felix is tired of getting to stages where people are expecting him to win and not bringing home the trophy. So I think he's trying things or tinkering with things in his power to make some things happen and I guess close the gap to where people feel like he's on that B list, maybe even C list to win a slam. He's trying to get on that A list. So
That's right.
I mean, I can't blame him for making the switch. And I think that at the end of 2020, he announced he and his coach were splitting. But I don't know who he's had in the interim because has he had an interim coach before? Tony Nadal.
He did, and the fact that we can't
Poor
remember
guy.
his name,
Right,
I know,
yeah,
right.
right?
tells you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know who it was, but I know he made the announcement that he was leaving his old coach. Because he had been with him for a minute. I just don't know who the new guy is, and the results with that guy haven't been stunning either. He got another finals loss, which I mean, getting to finals is good, but I mean, if you're the player that's higher ranked and you're not coming home with the trophy, that's something we got to fix. That
That's
I
right.
think is fixable in his game. Considering the upside he has and his age. So. I
Absolutely.
like it. I hope it doesn't. Hopefully, it inspires him and doesn't. It doesn't give him too much pressure because obviously, eyes were already on him. It just
Hmm.
feels like this might put even more eyes on him. Like you working with one of the goats, like premier influences. We want to see how that influences you. So maybe some people might want to see some immediate results. I don't think it's gonna. I'd be surprised if it's something that like really takes place in the next, 6 months where we really see huge strides. But I think in the next year, maybe this time next year, we'll be having Felix in the conversation to be a couple of grades up. Like I said, not being in that C level, but be more in that A level as far as
Right.
next guy to win a slam that hasn't won one already.
I 100% agree with you, Miles. I think that he definitely needed to do something different to kind of shake it up. I think that Tony Nadal looks at a Felix very much like a Nadal, very workmanlike, very much, can take instruction, and you have to say that about Nadal. And he's just such an incredible champion. The fact that he is humble, he will kind of listen and I feel like Felix is very much of that same kind of mental, which I think Tony Nadal sees as, okay, you're someone that I can actually, kind of mold, if you will, and someone who will listen. And I think that all those things will bode very well in his favor. I mean, again, you've got such discipline that he had with Rafa. And I believe that he will do the same thing with Felix, and it will make his points a lot sharper. I think that he will be able to build points better because I think that that's a lot of what Nadal, in my opinion, does just extraordinarily is with his lefty swing. He knows his patterns. He knows how he wants to put people in certain positions in order for him to get on top. And I think that Tony Nadal can definitely help Felix with that because to me, Felix is not, at least in my opinion at this point, he's not that type of a player. I just think he just hits big, but I don't know that he hits with purpose. And I hope that that's what Tony Nadal will hopefully begin to kind of bring into his game is here's how you need to shape a point. Here's how you build a point and get it
Amen.
so that it's in your wheelhouse of how you want to play a point. Because again, like I said, that's why I kind of liken him a lot to James Blake. He just goes out there and he hits
Yes.
big and it's nice. But if you ain't got no strategy, they're gonna be able to pick you apart. So
I mean, it's kind of nice that they're starting this journey together on clay because I do
right.
think clay is going to allow him to basically have to rely on some point production and tactics, which I
Yes.
feel like if he ever finds that sweet spot of just his natural raw athleticism plus the power and like the shot making that's there with some tactics that kind of come naturally from playing more on clay. Because I mean, if,
Mm-hmm.
if 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 Tony's in his camp for a while, I think they're going to be like the practice sessions that may have been just on hard court, they may turn into clay court sessions or training blocks, and I think that's going to yield good dividends for him on every surface because it allows him to construct and basically build shot tolerance, which I feel
Mm-hmm.
like he doesn't necessarily have a grade A level of so far. He needs to build that up.
But to be honest with you, Miles, and Bryce, I do want you to weigh in on this as well. I actually think Felix has a very nice pedigree on clay because I'm pretty sure three of
I'd
those
agree.
seven
Yeah.
finals were clay. They were on clay courts. So I feel like he actually has a really, really good game on clay. Again, you just got to be able to build patterns. You just can't be out there swinging. You got to build your patterns and
Yeah, he
know
has the power to hit through everything. I mean,
exactly.
he has the athleticism to do like to move well and everything. So Clay shouldn't be it shouldn't really be his nemesis at all.
Correct.
I
Bryce.
like a couple of things that you guys have said. First of all, just in general, I agree with both of your perspectives. Isaac, I really like the fact that you said, he doesn't hit with purpose. Cause I know sometime I'm watching those matches and I feel like asking him, like, fool, what's your purpose? You
Exactly. What?
know, what you do. So I definitely, that definitely resonates with me and Miles, when you said he can hit through anything, I totally agree because I think that's even inclusive of the backstop. So if we, one of the things that
Oh my
I
God,
was,
Bryce.
one of the things that I was thinking that I commented on just a week or two ago was, to me, Felix's game, like his total game did not seem like it was the sum of all of his parts. I mean, when you break down, his forehand and his backhand and stuff, you think like, oh, he's got all these great shots, right? But
Right.
it was like something wasn't tying it all together. And that's where I think Tony Nadal brings the magic,
I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was
right?
his
I
haircut for
think
the
Mm-hmm.
he,
longest time, but then he got that cut, and then he still didn't get results. So it's something.
Samson.
It's something.
But yeah, but no, I think the experience that Tony Nadal brings, having really taken Nadal from stump to champion, and having been in all those big matches and the strategies and knowing from a scouting standpoint all the other top players, and I mean, he just brings so much to the table. I mean, I almost couldn't think of a better fit for for FAA, because what I don't think he needs is, I don't think he needs to really retool a lot of his shots.
Right.
I think it's all about how he uses them. It goes back to that whole purpose thing again.
That's right.
So I'm excited. And Miles, I'll go back to something else you said. You know, tennis has to be one of the worst sports for people. They get a hankering for something and then they off to the races with it. You know, don't, like, if FAA doesn't win Monte Carlo, don't be like, it's not working out. Right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think you're gonna have to give this some time. Let him marinate in the whole Tony
Let
Nadal
him get to
sauce.
Toronto, and then we'll see what's up.
Yes.
Right. Let's see that. So I'm excited for what the potential of this union can potentially do.
And I think Isaac was saying of like the character that Felix and Rafa both share. A
Mm-hmm.
humble. I think there's a humbleness there, and like just like you said, a willing to go the extra mile, because it seems like Felix really does have like the I'm here, like he doesn't have, he's the complete opposite of what like Nick Kyrgios is. Like he's
Right.
willing to wake up early, to do the hard work, to get to the moment to where he is that, like the face of the sport. I think he wants that. He's
He
just
wants
kind
it.
of he's been stuck in his own way and kind of not really sure which direction to go. And
Right.
hopefully, if Tony doesn't do anything else, he gives him direction on what exactly is a good pattern for him on the court. So I'm interested to see it build. Hopefully, it's not one of those things that's a shot in the dark, and we hear before the year is done that they're split. I don't want it to be one of those WTA type of things, you know.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
shocking to me if I'm being
Yeah, I
very
would be
honest
more
with
shocked
you.
at that, honestly, because
Yeah.
Tony doesn't seem like he would invest in somebody if they're gonna
Yep.
just be like, if they're gonna pull the plug the same season, you know?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and like you said, I just see that humility in Felix, that I think he will be a good pupil for Tony to be able to mold, and I think it's an outstanding union in my opinion. I really feel like it will pay strong dividends in the long run. I think this is a very good turning point in Felix's career.
Okay. So before we leave here and head over to IG for our after show, where
Yeah.
y'all, we were clowning over there last week. So if
Y'all still clowning. I'm gonna grab me some dinner and clown with y'all.
I'm just trying to tell you. The other thing that I want to drop on the table real quick to get your input is, it is back in the press that Djokovic's father is out there running his mouth again.
Oh, good Lord. What he done
And
said now?
he's gone out there and he done said that, Roger, when Djokovic first came out on the tour, that, he attacked his son. I don't know what attack his son means.
He
And
told I remember something specific that happened actually. I think it was at Monte Carlo actually.
oh, really?
Roger told Novak's box to
Oh
shut up.
yeah, I remember
Like,
that.
and
Yep.
his box included his
Yep.
dad and like the rest of the people. This was
Well,
like
that ain't
'08.
attacking Novak,
I
you know?
Exactly.
mean, Novak is sensitive. You know that.
He is.
Right. So check this out. So his dad goes on to say, as for as good of a champion as Federer was, because now Djokovic is the best of all time,
Mm.
um, that he's not such a good man. So now this is like a personal
That
attack
seems
Wow.
on
so
him.
like, where's the mirror? Because that seems like what
Wow.
I would say about Djokovic, not Roger Federer.
Right. And so when he's saying this stuff, he's telling the media, he's like, I understand y'all don't like me and my son, and we really don't care because we not trying to be up in your world. But the
But you
truth is
are.
the truth.
But you are
Huh.
in the world because you're giving these quotes to the media so they can run with it. So that's
So,
why I just can't get with their camp. I just can't get with
No.
it.
so I want to understand from you guys, why does Djokovic's dad think anybody's interested in something he got to say?
He's benefiting from the fruits of his son's labor, which I can't necessarily blame any. I guess I can blame dads for doing that because that's not necessarily right. But I mean, he's dancing in the spotlight that his son has created for him, and
Right.
consistently keeps creating because his son keeps winning despite these like off court narratives that aren't great for him. So like
Mm-hmm.
on one hand, I can see why you feel like you have some kind of power in the media because your son is is heavily considered one of the greatest to ever pick up a racket, and you created that. I get that, but on the other
Mm-hmm.
hand, where's the fact that you are a millionaire or you bred a millionaire and you just sitting back relaxing? Shouldn't he be in like his, not to egg shame, but shouldn't he be on his 60s on his son's boat or something, just chilling? Like just
Oh my
chilling.
God.
You would think,
Why do we
right?
always have to hear your opinions? And it's incessant at this point. It's every season we
Yep.
hearing something about Djokovic and his camp. And it's just like just for how good you are, you don't come off like somebody people want to be around. At least from what I can see from people. People aren't like lining up to be Djokovic fans. They exist, but it's more so about the way he constructs himself on the court. Off the court,
Mm-hmm.
he and his family just come off like a mysterious bunch of jerks to me.
Yep. I can't disagree with that. I mean,
I, I,
I don't understand it, to be honest with you. It's so childish and so silly. It's like, come on, y'all, really?
And then they want us to believe that the big three is like this big old family, and then you got like that's messing up that narrative right there. Like that
Right.
doesn't that doesn't even make sense. And then people are always wondering why. Like I think when Rafa won his 20th Grand Slam, Roger tweeted out like this whole thing about congratulations, but he hasn't tweeted out one thing about Novak reaching 18. Like you wonder why. Like that. This is why, because we can't even congratulate you in the quote unquote privacy. Like I feel like any kind of conversation anybody would have with Djokovic in the locker room is subject to get out. He's just not a trustworthy person, or like his camp doesn't make him seem like a trustworthy person where things are going to be positive. It's always something negative, and I don't know how he wins despite that. I really don't. It's mind
Right.
boggling. It's mind boggling how
well,
he wins despite of that.
well, this is the only thing I want to say on it because obviously you're trifling. But the thing that I want to say about it is that if he thinks by any way his comments are going to make some people change the way they feel about Roger Federer,
It's not happening.
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
dude, you that I mean,
It's very
that is
simple.
he's literally the like if you had to pick like who would be the hardest person on the men's tour to change public perception on.
It would be
Mm-hmm.
him.
It would be him.
You're
Exactly.
right.
Roger would have to be in some kind of what's that guy that some kind of Bill Cosby ish scandal. I didn't want to say Bill Cosby, but the other guy that was around the Me Too. It would have to be some kind of scandal like that for like for the image of Roger Federer to change, because for so long it's been pretty decent, beyond decent. I mean, I always wasn't a fan because he kind of came off like a little too clean cut, but
Mm-hmm.
he kind of had to go through some things in his career for me to hop on the Federer is the GOAT bandwagon. But now that I'm there, I kind of find myself making up for lost time and going back to when he really was truly in his prime. But there's
Mm-hmm.
no, for the past 20 years, there's been no greater ambassador for the sport, especially men's tennis, than Roger Federer. So you really coming at a brick wall. Like people are still going to want to buy that anything associated with RF, and it's just a done deal. Like he would have to do
Exactly.
something massively like socially just
Just
wrong.
illogical.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean, like midgets would have to be involved, and I mean, just like
yeah.
it would, yeah, it would be a lot. I mean, it would be a lot. So I don't know what and I don't know if Djokovic's dad was on the sauce that night and wasn't really sure, about what he was saying. But yeah,
They be
dude.
drinking that gluten free stuff. That's the problem right there.
Well, but
Yeah.
remember, as long as they prayed over it,
Yeah. He's
you
just
know.
actually I know that diet is good for his health, but he's been weird since he switched to that diet. But
Well, he
nobody
That's
wants
been
to
true.
admit it.
sure
That's
he was
very
weird before
true.
he did. So anyway, well, thank you for coming up, Miles, and joining us for the
Yes.
conversation. We are going to bounce right now because we're going to go to the after party on IG. Please, everyone, if you can, join us over there. We're going to continue the conversation there for our friends that are still on those bricks called Androids, and can't get on Locker Room quite yet. But our Android version of Locker Room is coming shortly. So
it is coming. That's right.
Yeah. So thanks for attending. We will talk to you all again next week. Be safe and enjoy the tennis.